let me show you something that I find interesting, okay? Let's say that this is the sun right here. Okay, let's say that there is the sun. And let's say that this is the earth. This dot right there is the earth, okay? Not a good picture, but it will do. Well, the distance between the sun and the earth is 1 astronomical unit. You know, it's about 92 million miles. Now, that's a big number. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you like this. If you were to drive from the earth to the sun at 65 miles an hour, it will take you approximately 163 years to get to the sun. Now think about that. Right now is the year 2020. 163 years ago was the year 1857. Okay, that was 4 years before the American Civil War. Wow, 4 years before the American Civil War. Okay, so that means that you have to leave the earth on the year 1857, 4 years before the American Civil War, so you can get to the sun right about now. Okay, going at a cruise speed of 65 miles an hour. Just that's a big distance, right? Okay, now let's say that there's a star up here. Okay, well, there's a distance between the sun and that star. And that distance is called a parsec, and it's written down as 1 PC, 1 parsec, okay? The distance between the sun and the star is 1 parsec if there's an angle with the earth of 1 arcsecond. What that means is if you have the earth, and there is an angle subtended of 1 arcsecond, then the distance between the sun and the star is 1 parsec, okay? So it has to have an angle subtended with the sun and the earth of 1 arcsecond. And we can use the Greek letter alpha, and we can write down alpha is equals to 1 arc second, okay? Now, 1 parsec, what is that, in terms of astronomical units? I mean, we just know it's 1 PC, but we don't know anything else, right? Other than what it is, what it stands for. Well, let me tell you first that this 1 arcsecond is the same thing as 1 second. They are the same thing, okay? Now, let's convert that 1 second into radians so we can work with it, okay? It's better that way, trust me. So the way we do it is we write down 1 second is equals to 1 second, obviously, multiply by a fraction. We want to get rid of seconds, so that means there's going to be seconds at the bottom. 1 minute is 60 seconds, okay? So as you can see, that's canceling out the seconds, and we end up with minutes. But now we want to get rid of the minutes, so there's going to be another fraction right there. And minutes is going to be at the bottom of the fraction, so we can cancel out with the numerator up there. Okay, so 1 degree is 60 minutes. And see, now you can see that I can cancel the minutes, and I end up with degree. That's what the circle stands for, degree. But I'm still not finished. I still got to go to radians. So there's another fraction. So I stop doing fractions once I end up with what I want. And what I want is radians. So there's going to be a fraction again, and degrees is going to be at the bottom. And I know the pi radians is equals to 180 degrees. And now you can see that that degree right there cancels out that degree, and you only end up with radians. And there's a number. Let me see, what's the number? It's going to be pi on top, and on the bottom is going to be 648,000 radians. Okay, so we can write down radians. Radians is a unit that doesn't have a unit. It's kind of weird, but that's what it is, because it's a ratio. Okay, now to find the distance of parsec, we're gonna do it as follows. We use basic trigonometry, and we write down tangent of alpha, that's tangent of that angle, is equals to the opposite leg of the triangle, which is 1 astronomical unit, divides the closest leg of the triangle, which is 1 parsec. 1 parsec, okay? And now we can do basic mathematics or basic arithmetic, and we can solve for 1 parsec. We can say, therefore, 1 parsec is equals to 1 astronomical unit divides tangent of alpha. Now, there's something else I wanted to mention here, okay? The tangent of alpha is equals to alpha, approximately, okay? If alpha is a small number, and also is in radians. If it's in degree, it's not gonna work. If alpha is measured in degrees, I mean, if the units that you're using here is degrees, you're not gonna get this approximation. It's only gonna work out if alpha is in radians, okay? So if alpha is a small number in radians, then tangent of alpha is approximately alpha. And for all intents purposes, it's just, they're one and the same, okay? In other words, this equation that we have up here, this equality, reduces to 1 parsec is equals to 1 astronomical unit divides alpha. Get it? And I know that it's an approximation. 1 parsec is approximately that, but it was chosen in 2015. It was chosen, okay, that the definition of parsec was going to be this division, this fraction. By definition, is going to be this result. And what is that result? Well, it's going to be 1 astronomical unit divides, what's alpha? It's up here. Pi divides 648,000 radians, okay? So you're going to write down pi divides 648,000 radians. And like I said, radians is a unit that is not a unit. In a way, you can, I don't have to write it down because it comes from a ratio, okay? Okay, well, you can reduce this further and write down the reciprocal of that fraction is gonna flip the numbers. You're gonna end up with 648,000 astronomical units divides pi. Now, when I say flip up the numbers, I mean the numbers in the denominator. You know, this fraction, which is in the denominator of the fraction, this pi divides 648,000 is going to flip. And so you are going to end up with the number 648,000 on top and the number pi at the bottom. Okay, fine. So now we can reduce that further if you want, but that's the definition of a parsec. 1 parsec is precisely 648,000 astronomical units divided by pi. Okay. Well, let's reduce that. We can say that 1 parsec is equals to, we know it's equals to that, right? And if we reduce that, it's going to be equals to 206,264 astronomical units. I know I'm just playing with numbers right now, and I'm going to show you why I find this interesting, okay? Okay, let's, I want to point out that 1 light year is equals to 63,241 astronomical units. okay? They're just numbers, but let's convert parsecs into light years. And the way I will do it is I will say this 1 parsec is equals to 1 parsec, okay? Fraction, I want to get rid of the parsecs. So I know parsecs are going to be at the bottom right here, 1 parsec. And on top is going to be the number, this number right here, 206,264 astronomical units. Okay, so that gets rid of this parsec and this parsec, and I end up with astronomical units. But I want light years, so I'm gonna put another fraction that involves light years right here, and light years got to be on the top, light years, right? And I want to have astronomical units at the bottom, so I can cancel them out, and I'm gonna get it from here. 1 light year is 63,241 astronomical units. And if you do the math right here, you're gonna get the number 3.261 light years. Now, what I find interesting here again is that 1 mile, okay, a distance, is equals to 63,360 inches. And if you notice this number right here, 1 light year is 63,204. I mean, it's 63,000 astronomical units, and 1 mile is 63,000 inches. You can do comparisons and think of an inch as an astronomical unit, and think of a mile as if it were a light year. So that way, when you're driving down the road, you can think every time you drive a mile, you can say, oh, this is a light year that I drove by. If every inch is going to represent an astronomical unit, and we already talked that 1 astronomical unit is such a big distance that if you were to drive at about 65 miles an hour, it would take you from the Earth to the Sun 163 years. I mean, and I find that interesting because using this scale, the scale of 1 mile, the scale of 1 inch equals 1 astronomical unit, right? Right here. We can say the star Proxima Centauri, which is 4 light years away, in a way is 4 miles away by comparison, you know, if we compare these two scales right here. So you can say the Proxima Centauri is about 4 miles away, and you can say that the star Sirius, which is a very bright star, is 8 miles away, because it is approximately 8 light years away. And also the another interesting fact is the star Epsilon Eridani, which is a star that's about 10 light years away, where they think that there might be life, or it's prone to have life sometime in the future, in the next 1 billion years or so. The point is that star is about 10 light years away. And so that would be as if it's 10 miles away using this scale right here. So anyways, just a little recap. 1 parsec is the distance between the sun to an imaginary star. There's no such star up there that we can say, oh yeah, it's 1 parsec away from the sun. There's no such star, okay? We imagine or conceiving that if there were 1 star that were a distance such that it sustains an angle with the Earth of 1 arcsecond or 1 second, then that distance from the sun to the star would be 1 parsec. And don't make the confusion that I was making. That is the distance from the sun to the star and not from the Earth to the star, okay? 1 parsec is the distance from the sun to the star and not from the Earth to the sun. I mean, from the Earth to the star. Fine. And the other thing is this equality or approximation only works out when alpha is a really small number, like less than 1, and it's in radians, okay? And this is a definition. By working this out, you end up with this definition. 1 parsec is equals to 648,000 astronomical units divided by pi. It's a definition because it's an approximation. It was defined that way in 2015. Okay, well, that's it. Find that interesting.